Hey guys, I'm Matt.
And I'm Raymond.
Today we're going to talk about Dia de los Muertos.
Or other words, the Day of the Dead.
Let's get it rolling. Hey guys, welcome back to Stogies and Broskies. Today, in honor of the end of October, the start of November, we're going to discuss the Mexican tradition of Dia de los Muertos to honor our past, our loved ones, our family. And so we're going to get on a little serious note today.
So we're going to kick it off and explain to us, to you guys, what we're drinking and what we're smoking today.
Today, we're smoking the Sweet Jane. I couldn't remember what it was, by the Deadwoods Sisters. Also, yet again, another Drew Estate brand. So this is going to be an interesting day for me specifically. What are we drinking?
Today we're drinking the Jame E Pepper, barrel proof. It's a 52%, which is, I want to say it's closer to like a 9.
I don't remember the proof on it. I think it's
not a
closer
proof
to 100
on it. Yeah. So
it's a very good bottle. One of my favorites. I've gone through quite a few of them. So we chose the Deadwood Sisters Sweet Jane. It's got the sugar skull on the branding all over the place, but they also just released Dia de los Muertos version of the Sweet Jane, which unfortunately we're not smoking today. If we had planned better, we would have been. However, with that being said, one of the most influential people to me through my childhood, I have to say, is my grandfather. Unfortunately, he passed at way too early. My father was not a big portion of my life, and so he really stepped up and took on that role of teaching me, how to be a young man. And actually, in honor of that, I actually have him on my bar. He sits behind me every day. So when I knew my grandfather, he was already retired. He loved the outdoors. He was all about his garden and his property. And with that, it was all about taking care of others. So he had a massive garden. To me, at 6, 7 years old, it was massive. I really wish I could go walk the property now just to see how big or small that garden was. But I was always out there in the rows helping him weed and pick and put bags together. He was an ample figure in his church, and we would, after harvest, we would always go through and take bags of fresh produce to families in need in the local community. And so he, not just only teaching me all these things on, how to build stuff and, fix things, which I built this bar out of, a whim, but just how to be a good human being and take care of the people around him. And so it really left lasting memories on me to just try to be a better person and help other people out. And so, I chose him today to talk about because, not only was he pretty much my father figurehead, but, he really instilled a lot of important aspects of just being a good human being. And, I tried to live up to those concepts every day,
Yeah.
So before we get into your influential individual, what do you think about the cigar, man?
It's very sweet. I mean, it's in the name, Sweet Jane, but
It is in the name.
yeah, it's not bad. I don't know. It's not something that you'd smoke on a daily basis.
Well, we both know I don't really play with flavored cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge fan of flavored. It is very sweet. This is it's interesting, and I'm really trying to grasp some words on it here. I know my wife loves them. I know she even says that they're a little too sweet sometimes.
Right.
Man, it's like a dessert in my mouth, right? If I had to like just choose words, it's like a dessert in a cigar.
I feel like it's more of one of those cigars for people that are just stepping into cigars. That the strong, earthy flavors kind of turn them off.
Yeah, absolutely.
It allows them to get into it and start to get a feel for it.
Yep.
Without overpowering the palate.
Yeah, and so I could definitely see. So, and that's one thing that we've always talked about is the Deadwoods Sisters brand is great for beginner cigar smokers who are afraid of the very strong flavor notes.
Yeah.
It's a nice subtle way to really kind of kick off your cigar journey. And
the thing is a lot of people will look at the Deadwood Sisters cigar brand and think it's a woman's cigar, but that's far from that.
Far from it.
I know a lot of men, experienced cigar smokers, newer cigar smokers that do smoke the Deadwood Sisters brand.
Oh, absolutely.
But thing is, the Deadwood Sisters brand, it branches out pretty far with the different options that you have. Because you've got the Sweet Janes, the Fat Bottom Betties, the
Leather Rose,
and all that stuff.
The Girl with No Name, the Crazy Alice. So I have to say, and I don't mean to cut you off, Ray. There, with the sweetness, there's a lot of complexity to it as well. And so, like you were saying, it's not just a sweet cigar. Like there is complexity, there's body behind it. So, it is a good cigar. I mean, the quality is there.
That's where it brings you into being able to use it as a starter cigar because you've got that sweetness to help you out with the flavors.
Yep.
But the complexity of it will also allow you to learn to try and taste those other notes that you will taste in other cigars.
Right.
But being able to find those and still get a cigar that a new person will enjoy. Absolutely. So I think that they did a really good job with trying to hit that market.
No, I 100% agree. Definitely as a entrance cigar, I think it's great. The sweetness kind of dulls out what could be considered the overbearing tobacco flavors. For somebody who's new, who doesn't know what to expect. But the underlying complexity behind it, I can definitely see as just the gateway to good premium cigars.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the further I get into it, the sweetness, maybe it's just
kind of dissipates a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as sweet. And you didn't cheers that sucker. You tapped into that early. I know. Yeah. I've been thinking about it too. But yeah, the sweetness definitely dissipates from it, and the complexity kind of comes through. So the more I smoke it, the more I'm
more partial to it.
Yeah, more partial to it. More interested in it. But let's go ahead and get to the drink since
I've already been tapping into
you cut me out already.
Well, so there you go, buddy.
Oh, well, hold on.
I want to get into it.
Well, I understand. Let's talk about this for a second. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we've become official. We've got Glencairn glasses.
Yeah, they're not etched yet.
They're not etched yet. So, if you would like a Stogies and Broskies Glencairn glass, let us know. Nothing is set yet. Prices. This is just. This is going to be our very first marketable piece of merch. I do have a special request for a decanter, so that'll actually be our first official sale. Lando, buddy, this one's to you. Let's get into this and see. Let's nose it.
I've been nosing it,
and let's check it out. What do you think? This Jame E Pepper decanter single barrel.
Yeah. What do you think? Because I've been drinking it. I can't even lie.
So I absolutely love this bottle.
Might even over half bottle.
It is all yeah. So I found this bottle. I think it was at the cigar lounge one night. One of the guys brought it in, and I just fell in love with it there. And ever since I found it, I've had it on the shelf. I've gone through so many of them.
Right.
There's definitely some caramel notes, some brown sugar notes on the nose.
But the thing is it's not a high proof. It's not low, but it's still like really palatable.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's the alcohol percentage on that?
52.7.
Can you figure that out? 52.7%.
I mean,
ABV.
So a 49% is 98 proof.
Okay.
50% is 100.
Okay, so we're looking at probably 102.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. Just basing it off of the bottles that we have sitting over here.
Right.
So.
All right, buddy. Hey.
Hey.
Cheers.
Cheers, bud. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, tastes just as good as the last sip.
Yeah. Hasn't gotten better yet.
Oh man.
It definitely. So it's got that sweetness on the palate.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that caramel and the brown sugar and stuff.
Yeah.
It's got that Kentucky hug on the way down, like you'd get from a medium to high proof bourbon. But it is so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
So tasty.
I love this.
Mm-hmm.
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 So, the person I chose to recognize today, it's not a actual family member. I consider him a brother. My brother Richard. We met after I had already graduated high school. We started working together in landscaping, and from the day that he stepped into being in my life, he has done nothing but influence me on so many different aspects in life. First, he showed me how it's supposed to feel to have a brother in your life. Because growing up, I have older siblings and I have an older brother, but the age gap, they were already out of the house, and they went and did their own thing. So I didn't really get to enjoy having a sibling and get the how do you put it? Just
that bond
of having a brother that you can talk to and experience life with, the way that you can with a brother.
Sure.
He showed me that because growing up, you see all the men, and it's like the toxic masculinity, but he gave you the opportunity to realize that you can be hard but still be caring.
Yep.
At the same time.
Sure.
Which he was a very lost for words today, but just looking at him, intimidating.
Okay.
Like he looked like the old biker, long beard, long hair, like punk, like hard rock person.
Sure.
Someone you don't think you could walk up to and have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Like as a stranger.
Sure.
But he had the warmest heart of anybody I've had ever met.
Mm-hmm.
His love for family, he really instilled that into me.
Very cool.
And just being able to, I remember days we would sit back and we'd I'd have a bottle of Jameson and we would sit in the barn and drink an entire fifth and literally just talk.
Very awesome.
He was one of the only people that I could literally just sit down and have full conversations with and get into deep conversation without without any intention to, the conversation itself.
Sure.
And we lost him way too early.
Yeah.
Same, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was probably one of the most influential people I've had in my life, and I'll always look at him as my brother.
Sure.
He always will be.
Yep. So. And, I understand. I know the story. I know of Richard through conversations of you and Danny and your mother.
Yeah.
And so I understand that how influential he has been in your life and in theirs as well.
Yeah.
And
my whole family adopted him.
Yep. And
he became my parents' son.
Yep.
As we were in landscaping, he moved in with me.
Right.
and we lived on my parents' property together, and we worked together, and like we spent almost every moment together for a couple years.
Right.
And I didn't get to have a lot of time with him, but the little bit of time I had with him was very impactful in my life.
So, funny story. I don't know if you know this or not, but when me and Ray, we knew each other for quite a few years before we really kind of developed our relationship.
Yeah.
And so when on that trip that you went out and we kind of adopted your wife into the house, and you guys have never left since, your mother actually said something which stood out, and I'll never forget it. She was concerned about our relationship and how much time we were spending together because of past relationships and the pain that goes through with that. If something happens, like, you know, if we were to have a breakup, if you will, you know, like it's painful. And, you know, and she referenced Richard specifically, and you all losing him at, you know, way too young, and how close you were. She saw us having that same relationship, which is an honor to me because I know how important he was to you. And so I feel like, you know, you are that person in my life. And so she made a comment about how she was concerned at first when she first met us and everything else. And so we're not going to go there. I'm getting, you know, lip readings from behind the camera here. We're not going to talk about that one. But you know, I have, you know, since, you know, that conversation and, you know, conversations with you, I'm not one to just, you know, break up. You know, like, you know, F you guys, I'm out. You know, you know, we both have a friend, a mutual friend, and he's been my best friend for the longest time since I moved back here to Kentucky. And we've had some pretty knockout, drag out arguments. And I mean, it's gotten pretty bad, but at the end of the day, you know, we're all humans. We all have our different opinions and our different views. And you know, the thing is all three of us were very passionate about certain aspects.
Yeah.
And when you're passionate about something, you know, it's going to cause some heated conversations. But at the end of the day, you know, being an adult is learning how to communicate that, even after, you know, the height of the argument or debate or conversation, whatever you'll call it, you know, it's coming back down and understanding each other's side and being able to talk it out. And, you know, communication is, you know, key in any relationship, whether it's friendship, marriage, girlfriend. You know, you got to be able to communicate. And so, you know, I'm not one to just have a bickerment with somebody and, like, you know, and just exile them from my life forever. And so, you know, and I made that very clear to your mom and to you that, you know, I know for a fact we're going to argue about something sooner or later. It's just bound to happen. But, you know, even with an argument, you know, you're stuck with me, bro. We're here. This is us, you know. You know, we're tied in for life. And so, with that, you know, like, I'm excited to be able to do this episode, to be more candid and more real, and not just be laughing and joking and telling fun stories, you know, to really get in the nitty gritty and tell that stuff that's going to wrench hearts and, you know, make me, you know, water up, because, you know, people are influential and impactful in our lives. And, you know, to have those people taken from us at you know, such young ages and way too early. I mean, it's painful, but we have to deal with it and process it. And the best way I feel like we can do that is to take a moment in time and just, you know, reflect on what they brought to our life, you know, how they made us better people, and just the good fond memories that we had of those. Like, I mean, I've got some ruthless ones of my grandfather. You know, I mean, he was very strict to a certain aspect. But there's so many more good stories. Like, he taught me how to play chess. You know, we would sit there during lunch. We would have our lunch. You know, we'd come in from the field. We'd have our lunch. We would play a game of chess. We would watch Price is Right with Bob Barker, the original, the OG. And, you know, at 6 years old, he's teaching me how to play chess. And that's something that I've passed to my two kids who are sitting here in the audience as well. You know, they have, you know, we've sat down and I've taught them the basics of chess. And he also taught me that if you want something, you have to earn it. And he would never let me win. If I wanted to win, I had to fight for it. I had to learn it, and I had to grow. And that's something that I do to my kids. You know, we play board games, we play chess, we play checkers, and my 5-year-old, he gets frustrated with me because I don't let him win. And I'm like, but you don't learn anything from winning. You learn from losing. You learn what didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like my grandfather taught me that, you know, if you want something bad enough, you have to fight for it and learn for it and educate yourself. And so, you know, it's been such an incredible journey without him. And I was actually, side note, you know, still on my grandfather, I was with a new guy at work, and we got into this really deep conversation. And I said, if there's one person in the entire world that I could bring back from the past, from the dead, and have an adult conversation with, it'd be my grandfather, because I've only ever knew him as a kid.
Right.
And so now, with being an adult, almost 40, you know, the things that I would love to just sit down and talk to him about, you know, more adult conversations, it would just be absolutely incredible, because it's not just, you know, a grandfather to a kid, it'd be a grandfather to a grown man.
Right.
And so I think I could learn so much more from him now than I did as a kid, but unfortunately. So I just try to live in his honor, to do the best I can, and, you know, we live and grow, and I try to instill his values in my children.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, bud, I think we have something we have to do today.
We do. We have to add this to the decanter. Ladies and gentlemen, again, if we cover this every single time, but if you're just tuning in for the very first time, this is our 2024 decanter. We started this at our YouTube journey start. We have added an ounce of bourbon or whiskey or scotch into this decanter with every episode that we've done, in hopes that we finish this off at the start of the new year. Our very first episode will be us taste testing this decanter with you all. And so we can go back through, we can watch all the different episodes, and we can retrace our steps into what exactly is in here. However, that caramel note, or that caramel color, is just absolutely phenomenal.
Building a little bit more darker notes into it with some of the most recent bottles that we've been putting in there.
Nope.
It's starting to look good.
It is starting to look good. I can't wait. I smelled it earlier today before you got here. Super excited to taste test it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, follow us, like, subscribe on all our social media accounts. We're here on YouTube. We've got Twitter. We've got Facebook. We've got Instagram. The Facebook and Instagram we're not super active on. I will do my best to get our social media managers to be more active on those aspects. However, we try to go in on YouTube when there's comments. I mainly go in there and I make sure that I comment back. I want to make sure that you guys have access to us and our opinions. And, you know, if you have questions, I want you to feel free to openly ask us and know that you're going to get a response. I go in and I make sure that I go through it and respond to everybody. So please get on there, be active. We want to talk to you. We want to build this family. And with that, you know, again, communication's key. So if you would like to build this family with us, communicate with us. Let us know what you like, what you dislike, experiences that you've had. You know, it just helps us understand and know you guys better, and it allows you to understand us and know us better. So, you know, we're all about family and about building and growing our family. So please, you know, get on there, like us, follow us, share us, you know, get your people involved. You know, we would love to meet them and become more in their life.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Well, until then,
cheers.